On today's NFL edition of the Grind Hours podcast, we're going to be going over in depth the Giants 2020 schedule. I got my old radio partner in the Zoom call on the line. This is weird. I'm not going to say it's not weird. I am used to being on a radio or a podcast with you. Just we did it with cousin John on Skype for WrestleMania, but you and me on a podcast or a radio show, it's almost like it feels wrong not to be in person.
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing. It's just weird not to be in person, working face to face. We're used to just being in the same booth. And in these weird times, we just got to settle for the new normal of Zoom. But in any event, I'm always happy to be on the Grind Hour. Always happy to be invited, and always excited to work with you, man.
This is back to our roots because as much as our opinions differ about baseball and basketball, our love for football is pretty much aligned. Yours goes in a crazy
Don't say weird.
alignment.
It's not
It,
weird.
no, our love for football is pretty much the same, with one caveat being you are an absolute nut about fantasy football.
This is true. This is true. My fantasy football team every year almost at times takes precedent over my actual allegiance.
I would say at times, especially the past couple of years, ever since I've known you, your fantasy football team has been the forefront of your football watching priority.
Oh, absolutely. Because I'll watch the Giants in
Right.
general, but I now I have a reason to watch every other game.
It was a joke on the walk on that you're just going to work for RotoWire in like 2 years because you just hound that website and you find these sleepers that always like. I have to go back and see when we did the fantasy football segment on our show how many guys actually produced, because you were like, I think you only missed like two or three out of the 14 or whatever you gave.
Yeah, it's I've learned a lot. I've been playing fantasy football for a few years now, and the biggest lesson I've learned, I think, one that's attributed to my success, and that I've had a winning record for the last few years, consistently in every league, has humble brag, just putting it out there, has been volume is king. So who's which positions are getting the ball the most on each team, not just in general. Because in
Right.
general, we know that the running backs are getting the most touches, but what's the target share of tight ends to wide receivers on all 32 teams? And so that kind of became my science. So going into the fantasy finders, that's what I do. It's next man up. In football, guys get hurt. So by
Hmm.
position, it's who's next on the depth chart. Who do the coaches like that you see on the dirt sheets and all that? And percentage wise, who, like, an example is on the Titans, uh, a good amount of the targets went to the tight end. So when Delaney Walker went down, here comes Jonnu Smith. Who's Jonnu Smith? It doesn't matter because he's the tight end, and a lot of the targets go there. You know what I mean?
Wow, we're getting really inside baseball.
Yeah,
Uh, uh,
I could talk for hours about fantasy football. You know that.
yeah, I do.
But there's a very real schedule out now.
Yeah, we actually have a concrete schedule, and of this quarantined sports, the NFL has ruled pretty much all of the news. It hit perfectly for the NFL, and that's the one thing that I think will come back in spades for them. Because when we were growing up, NBA free agency was not a thing. It was just simply not a thing. It was all about where's the NFL going to go. And that was partially because the NFL pushed a shit ton of money to ESPN and says, promote our product, promote every single thing that we got going on. We'll give you get the analysts like Schefter and John Clayton and Warder and all those guys. Promote the shit out of the NFL. And for the past 5 or so years, NFL free agency has been awful. Like, you don't hear anything about it. There's been not that many big free agency moves, not that big trades anymore. And now with the quarantine, it's been all about football, from free agency with Brady going to Tampa Bay, the virtual draft, and now this, the NFL offseason period is now, it brings back to NFL being a 12-month of the year sport. Basketball is not just the only sport like that anymore. And the NFL used to be like that too.
Right. I think what it comes down to is that, call it dumb luck, is that the NFL was in its off season when all of this happened.
Right.
So because the NFL wasn't postponed, it wasn't canceled, didn't stop on a dime like all the other sports going on in America right now, it almost feels like, in terms of sports, the only piece of normalcy there is.
So, with that being said, I think this is a perfect time to dive into the Giants schedule just as a first bit of it. We'll probably revisit this at some point closer to the season actually kicking off, whether it kicks off in September or whenever, because of Corona. But week one, I can't remember the last time the Giants played opening week Monday Night Football.
I honestly can't either. I love it. We have 2 Monday Night Football games this year. Like I said to you before we started recording, a very fun schedule. A lot of interesting games this year for the Giants.
I like the front half of your schedule a lot. The back half of your schedule is woof. But I actually like the Giants in this matchup based off of what they've done in the offseason.
Are we talking, because we did freeze up a little bit, which is week one?
Week one, yeah.
We're in week one.
Against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, see, that freeze we just had killed me. But all right, now I'm with you. We're Pittsburgh here.
Right.
I agree. I actually think what we're going to see, I think the Giants are going to start 2-0. And we'll talk about each matchup individually, but I just want to put that out there. The Giants are going to start hot. And I agree with you. I think that the offseason that the Pittsburgh Steelers have had and that the Giants have had, not to mention just the season the Steelers had last year, is all going to come to play into that Monday Night Football game.
You're 100% right. I mean, it's going to be, does Big Ben have it for another year? Is he washed up? Should he be retired? The Giants' offensive line, did they do enough in the offseason to stop a pass rush like Pittsburgh's? And can Minkah Fitzpatrick do it again? Because he was the piece that Pittsburgh thought would be the final piece on a Super Bowl contending team, and it didn't happen for him. So, plus you get Daniel Jones season 2 to see if he has a sophomore slump or continues the trajectory of being the next Eli Manning.
Right, and it comes down to, like you said, it's all going to be on Big Ben in this game, because here's a guy who missed most of last year, and now with an extended offseason, perhaps not the opportunity to train as much, get back into the football speed, football groove. He's going to be right there on prime time against a young Giants defense that's very game for as young as they are and inexperienced. So I really think that's going to come and work in our favor and give us a win in week one.
I don't know how good they are. Honestly, I do not know how good they are. They have the potential to be, I would say, a league average defense. And the first 2 games of the year, that'll be good enough to get a win. Let's transition to a game where who the hell knows what's going to go on? Is it going to be Mitchell Trubisky or Nick Foles under center for the Bears? What's going to happen with Trubisky? It's a quarterback controversy that I don't think anybody wants to have, because the second quarterback in that controversy is Mitchell Trubisky. They don't really have a running game anymore. They abandoned it last year. Their defense took a giant step back besides Khalil Mack. This is a team that seems like that they missed their window. They had a 1-year window when they traded for Khalil Mack, and they missed it off of a shanked field goal.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I'm off the, on the air back when we were on the walk on together. I feel like I would defend Trubisky a lot
Oh,
because
you were a Mitchell
I was
Trubisky
because
apologist.
I was they were winning games on the back of their defense, and what I had said was, oh well, he's serviceable. In fact, I'm pretty sure I said he's like a Nick Foles. He's a serviceable guy.
Yeah, and I said
And
Nick Foles has
now,
a ring.
yeah, well, yeah, now Nick Foles is on the Bears, and I'm just like, give the ball to Nick Foles by all means. I can't support Mitchell Trubisky anymore. Not in good conscience. I can't do it. Trubisky had more chances than most young quarterbacks get, and he never really improved.
If I could put it in any sort of comparison, he is Mark Sanchez without the first 2 years runs the championship games. He is the end of the Jets, Mark Sanchez.
Right, and I guess at this point, the best thing he has going for him is that Trubisky is like such a Chicago Bears name. Like that's like such a that's a name that belongs on a Chicago Bears jersey. If that makes sense, but
it does. It really does.
Trubisky.
I. It's going to be an interesting thing because he was always the guy. Since he's been drafted, it's been we're handing the keys to this team to you. I'm going to be interested to see what it's like when clearly he isn't the guy. And if he can actually be the quarterback that everyone thought he was going to be out of college because of the competition in camp. I don't have any faith in him to do that. I think he will ride the bench until Foles inevitably gets hurt again, and then they'll just plummet their season because the only thing worse than Mitchell Trubisky is Mitchell Trubisky riding the bench for 7 games, not getting any game reps with the first team, and just saying, "Go ahead, kid, go try to win a football game," because it's not going to happen.
I'm going to warn you right now, because when the season gets here, we're talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
If you thought I was a Mitchell Trubisky apologist, I am actually a huge Nick Foles supporter. I love Nick Foles. I genuinely think he got a bad hand in Jacksonville, and I really don't blame him for that. I think
how else can you compete with the jockstrap king, Gardner Minshew?
Yeah. Listen, I love Gardner Minshew, and I'm pumped to see what he does in Jacksonville this year. The fans love him. I love him. I think with some more tuning, he could be great. But people were really crapping on Foles because of his contract, and it's a very big contract.
It's not his fault.
Right, it's not his fault. And he got hurt in week 1 on like the 3rd play from scrimmage.
Yeah, he threw 2 passes and then broke his shoulder in 4 pieces.
He was out until week? I picked him up off my wire when he came
13,
back.
Something
yeah, he came
like
back
that?
in week 13, played 2 games, and Jacksonville decided that he didn't have it, that he wasn't doing enough for them, and they benched him. I don't really blame him for that. I really don't think that was a fair chance.
I mean, here it's bad circumstances, and
he won one of those 2 games, by the way.
Yeah, he did. The only thing that I am worried about with Nick Foles is this is perhaps the single most bizarre thing that we have going on in sports right now, where a player can only win in one city. Everywhere Nick Foles goes besides the city of Philadelphia, he sucks. It's like Space Jam. His powers get sucked out of him once he leaves the area code of Philadelphia.
Man, it makes you wonder. I mean, why? It's almost like Philadelphia had 2 chances to make him just their guy and just didn't do it. But a guy wins you a Super Bowl. What else does he have? Like, what does it take?
I wrote a piece that said trade Carson Wentz. And Wentz almost won the MVP that year that they won the Super Bowl.
And I know you're big on Carson Wentz. We talked about this. You're big on Carson Wentz. We're going to talk about the Eagles, I'm sure, in a minute. But I'm over that too. I'm kind of over Carson Wentz.
I'm still in the Carson Wentz corner. I would, if I was Philly, I would have traded him 2 years ago and kept Big Dick Nick. But
you're in the Wentz corner. I'm in the Hurt locker, bro. I'm all about it. I'm all about Hurts.
That just doesn't – see, I'm out on him. I've been out on him since the Tua game.
Oh, man. So that's Chicago. That's Nick Foles, and that's QB controversy, right?
It's what can they salvage it? Because it looked like last year everybody quit on Matt Nagy. And the one thing you don't want in a football locker room is for the players to quit on the head coach. And partially that could have been him just backing Trubisky for whatever reason, if it was upstairs pressure or he truly thought that Trubisky was the guy. How can they rebound from that? Because it's majority of the same team again for year 3. We saw last year that they didn't have it other than one dude, and they didn't make that much like that big of changes.
I'm just gonna put it out there, and I don't want to. I don't want to. I know the segment here is the Giants schedule, so I don't want to sidetrack too much. But I feel like I should bring it up because we're talking about the Bears. Trubisky seems like he doesn't have it. Nick Foles, who we like and I think is more solid of a QB, there's still a risk there of, maybe he's not in Philadelphia, so he might suck.
Right.
Cam Newton's out there. And he's less, as much of a risk as he is, he's less of a risk and much more of a reward than Nick Foles or Trubisky could be.
Right. But I think there's something in me that is saying Belichick is pumping so much we love Stidham stock and he's our guy and we're going to go with him. I think that's just all a smokescreen. They're going to snag Cam on this cheap like 2 weeks before the training camp starts, and just like what I think Belichick is doing now is looking at all of the Cam Newton footage that he can and conjuring up an offense that he just can't sign him yet because he doesn't know what the hell to do with him because he's had a statue for 20 years.
Perhaps, I'm surprised the Patriots didn't move on Andy Dalton. I'm surprised the Bears didn't move on Andy Dalton.
He sucks.
Is he worse than Nick Foles or Mr. Trubisky? I don't think so.
That's an interesting question.
I don't think so.
He's better than Trubisky. I don't know if he's better than Foles. Moving on to the NFC champion San Francisco 49ers. That's
going to be a quick conversation. That's going to be our first loss of the season. Clearly. I don't know what else to say to that. It's even if we are at home, San Francisco is top dog. They're an elite team in this league right now. They went to the Super Bowl last year, and it's not a fluke. They're a good team. San Francisco is back, at least for another 2 years. So the Giants, again, with their youth and experience, one could argue that we're going to blitz more because that's our defense. We're a little bit more aggressive than most. We blitz a bit more than the average team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can get to Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe make him scramble a little bit, hopefully if our young secondary is decent, we can avoid getting burned downfield. But I don't know. I just don't see it.
I think you're going to get run out of the building. I really do.
Yeah.
I think this Giants team is good. I don't think they're that good. And it might be close for a couple of quarters, but in the end, I think San Francisco is head and shoulders above you guys. And I don't think there's many teams better than them.
Yeah, they're head and shoulders above most of the league.
Right.
If we're being honest. So
they're in the short elite conversation. Next, you're going out west and you're playing the Rams. Slight note on the Rams, and I'll mention this in the column that I'm writing about the Jets. I hate the Rams' new logo because it looks eerily similar to the Chargers.
I keep thinking we're playing the Chargers in week 4.
So do I. Like, if you look at the schedule, you're like, and I had this conundrum going through the Jets schedule because we play both of them. And I'm like, wait a minute, we already played the Chargers. The Chargers are already here. What the hell? And I was like, oh, wait a minute, that's the Rams. It's so weird.
Bad. And the thing that frustrates me the most is that everyone told them it was bad and they haven't changed it yet. That's what gets me mad. It's like everyone has told you that no one likes it and you're sticking with it. That's not fair to anybody.
Well, I think that just supplants that. This is validation that no one cares about football in LA. The fact that you think that the other team in LA, the half-decent team in LA is the Chargers, says a whole lot.
Yeah, and the Rams confuse me. I mean, I'm going to put it out there right
They
now.
confuse everybody.
The Rams fell off last year, and I look at this game, and I have this one voice in my head like, we can win this game. They really fell off last year. Jared Goff, I said on the walk-on, he's like a quarterback on Madden who's like a 64 overall, but a 14-year-old genius has the controller.
Right.
So, I don't know if it's there. But then I look at it again, and I'm like, Aaron Donald and there's enough like just raw talent on the Rams that this game might get ugly for the Giants, if we're being honest.
Do you think it's a win or a loss?
I have to say loss.
See, I'm on the other side because
I could flip a coin, but I'm going to say loss.
the Rams have a lot of holes on defense that were not answered in the draft and they were not answered in free agency. So every single one of their games is going to be a shootout. And there's just something about the Rams this year. And I liked them last year. I liked them. Actually, let me retract it. I didn't like them last year, and I was right. I was like, this team's going to fall off a bit because they were the number one team in offense the year before, and every single one of the teams that are number one in offense the previous year always fall off. It's a statistical fact going back to like 2004. So I like them to rebound a bit, but they don't have any defense. Yeah, they have a pretty decent offense with a bunch of different weapons, but
it's Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey.
And Ramsey's terrible.
I guess he is. I mean, that was a bummer. I was kind of listen. Actually, I'm lying. I love that. He sucked last year. I think I traded. I'm totally lying. I thought he was so annoying. And then there was that video of him basically like trying to start a fight and then telling Aaron Donald to hold him back, which I wouldn't even do. And like I don't fight anybody. So, Jalen Ramsey a bad look, but Aaron Donald is the real deal.
Oh no, he's the best defensive player that I've ever seen. And it's not even close. But he's the only guy on that defense, and you can only do so much when your best defensive player is a nose tackle.
Yeah.
So I like this game for the Giants just simply because I like their defense a little bit more, and their offense can put up enough points for them to win. Because something about this game, it's Saquon Barkley's first game in LA, and I love that because he's a star. Stars always do well in LA. He's gonna get up for that game.
I don't think I've ever heard that logic before.
Dude, there's something about someone, and it's like someone's first game in the Garden.
Well, I was gonna say, is that a thing in football? Because I know in basketball, if you show out in the Garden, that's like what makes you a star. Because Steph Curry wasn't a star until he put up 50 in the Garden.
That's one of my that is my single. That is the reason why I became a Steph Curry fan.
All right, listen, if you bring up the NBA, you're up a whole can of worms, and we're only in week 4, so we gotta keep it down.
This new Rams and Chargers facility is supposed to be the best football stadium that's ever been built. So why not there? You know what I mean? That could be the new Coliseum.
Could be. And listen, Saquon is going to eat almost regardless of whatever team he plays.
Yeah, because he's awesome.
So we'll see where this game goes. They fell off last year. So we have to see. This is year 3. They were a hot team, and then last year they fizzled out. So this is the year we're going to see which direction they're going for the next few years.
Honestly, I think they're a little bit better than Chicago. They're the same sort of team. Who knows if they miss their window?
I think they're a bit scarier than Chicago. I think they have better coaching. I think they just have more going for them.
They have better coaching, they have the better quarterback, and they have the better offense. But other than that, their defenses are pretty much the same.
Yeah, I guess because they have that one superstar. Chicago has Khalil. The Rams have Aaron Donald. So we'll wait and see.
Moving on to what I call a scheduled loss. Your first that of the two that I think you have is at Dallas.
Yeah, well, in week 5 is
Yes,
home versus Dallas.
it's home versus Dallas.
We're home.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, mine says home.
Let me just double check you and
According to
double check
the
myself.
according to the Giants Twitter.
Let me go on the Giants because I went on the Giants Twitter. That's where I got their schedule from. Week 5. No, it's at the week 5, October 11th, at the Cowboys.
Oh, mine says versus Dallas instead of at like mine says verse, which means home. Okay, so that's a mistake on my schedule then.
Yeah, at the Cowboys, back-to-back road games against a divisional opponent, your first divisional game of the year.
I do love though that we don't have a divisional game until week 5. Almost seems like a plus.
It is, but it also makes the back half of your schedule a nightmare.
That's yeah. Well, that comes down to those games against Philly and Washington, but we'll get to that in a second. I'm going to come out and say it. I've actually been practicing saying this to you since last night. I've had to swallow my pride for the last 10 plus hours because I'm like, I'm really going to say this. But I am afraid of the Dallas Cowboys. Like, I really am. Like, I really think Dallas is, assuming Dak can be a good
They got
quarterback.
Dalton.
Is Dalton the starter?
Well, yeah. They don't have Dak. Dak's not on the roster. He's not signed.
Is that where the situation has devolved into?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Here I am thinking that they just haven't paid him yet.
No, Andy Dalton is, as of right now, the starting quarterback in Dallas, and Dak Prescott is counting quarters.
I didn't know that Dak was a free agent. I wasn't aware of that.
No, he's a free agent. They don't.
I was not aware of that.
He's not on roster.
Wow, that's terrible. That's in my own division. I don't even know what's going on.
So
Living on quarantine.
Either way, the weapons are insane. They're insane. It's the same offensive line that continues to be awesome. They have CeeDee Lamb,
Zeke Elliott,
Zeke, and
you have
Amari.
CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup,
Oh,
Jason Witten, who has scored the most touchdowns against the Giants than any other player.
Witten's in Dallas. Or not in Dallas. He's in Vegas. He signed a 1-year deal with Vegas.
I missed that.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, man, because quarantine has been like, I catch the news as it comes. Like, I don't even know what I've been doing. I'm going on walks. I've become like a nature man in my time. But interesting. But even still, Dalton or Dak, I still fear this Dallas Cowboys team because, they got Mike McCarthy now, who is a quarterback coach. I mean, Andy Dalton is not Aaron Rodgers, but I do think he's serviceable, and I do think he can make those throws, man. The Red Rifle coming to Dallas, and I'm worried about it.
Him and CD is gonna be like, it's not gonna be him and AJ. They're both of their rookie years, but it's gonna be maybe 70% of that, 60 to 70% of what they were.
I mean, and CD he's the shiny new toy, but even if it's not CD, you still have Amari Cooper to worry about.
Yeah, one thing that I just noticed about whenever I bring up Amari Cooper, there is a slight, just unapologetic smile towards me because that's the number one thing that I've gotten wrong on the walk-on. That was the number one thing that I had to eat all the time was bad-mouthing Amari Cooper. And you got on the right side of history. That is the one thing that I will always – that is on my all-time bad takes.
Well, it happens, man. I have mine. I've had my own bad takes in the past. I'm sure if we think hard enough, we can think of a few. I'm pretty sure I said on the air that John Starks was one of the best two guards of the 90s.
Yeah, you did.
It was the heat of the moment, but I believed it when I said it. But
it's okay. I also said the Lakers would be better off trading LeBron.
Oof, that was a tough one. We're gonna have to have an NBA episode at some point, you and I.
Yeah, we will. For
But
sure.
yeah. So again, I guess you're right. You know, it is a scheduled loss because I don't think we're gonna beat the Dallas Cowboys once this year. I think we're gonna lose twice to Dallas, especially you know, week 16 and 17 are brutal. We have to be at Baltimore and then play Dallas again. It's going to be two very bad weeks to end the season. So I don't. I like Dallas this year, but as a Giants fan, I wish I could, not play them twice.
Moving on really quickly, week 6 against Washington. If you don't win this game, then Joe Judge should be fired
Well, we
on the
really might
spot.
not. I hate to say it to you, but I really think it's 50-50. I think that every year I say, oh, that's a win because of the Redskins, and then we either lose or we win in some comeback fashion. They give us a hard time every
It's a
time we
whole,
play
but
them.
that's at Washington.
So,
Every, well, it's for every team. They always for the Jets, it's at Buffalo. The Jets hate going to Buffalo. They can't win in New England because I mean it's in the Constitution that the Jets should lose in New England. But the Jets hate playing in Buffalo. The Giants hate playing in Washington. But at home, it's no problem. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I
They
mean,
hate the Jets hate going to Miami. I don't know.
well,
They're the only New
yeah.
Yorkers that hate going to Miami.
You know what it is I remember Daniel Jones, his first game against the Redskins was the week after or a couple of weeks after that crazy Buccaneers game.
Hmm.
So he was riding on all this confidence, and it was almost like they won that game in their sleep. And then we played them again after Daniel Jones had lost a few games, and he was more like down to earth. And the team really struggled with the Redskins, and we won that game in a crazy comeback, and we lost Chase Elliott, and I don't want to talk about it. So I don't know. I think if you flip a coin, I'll be generous and say that we split the series with the Redskins. I'll say that we'll win one, we'll lose one.
I think if you don't win this game, this is the
Chase
pivotal.
Young. I said Chase Elliott. Sorry. That just hit me.
Right. This is the I caught your drift. But for the Giants in week 6, and it's crazy that this is that their turning point game of the season is this early in the year. But if you look at it, if you're not going to win in Dallas just because that's a game that the NFL was just like they hand everyone a game. They handed Dallas that game. If you don't win at home against Washington, you have to turn around on a short week and go to Philly, which, especially if you lose, you're not going to win that game.
Oh,
And you got to
we
play
can't
Tampa
beat
Bay on Monday night.
we can't beat Philadelphia, man. We really can't. Philadelphia is our bugaboo. I don't know what it is because it's just something in the water. I think it's a mental thing. Unless Joe Judge has something that he can just kind of stir up in the guys and say, we can beat these birds. I don't know. That's like our Miami. Since you're a Jet fan, we cannot beat the Eagles.
I think you're going to lose that one too. But again, that just harps back on that Washington game. That is a huge game, and it's a game you should win. It really is, because Washington's not that good. They had the second pick in the draft. They are not that good.
I hate to say it, but I think the Giants and Redskins are kind of fighting for the bottom of the division. I think it's like which of these teams is worse. Cowboys
It's
own the division
Washington.
now.
No. It's Washington. They traded away Trent Williams to San Francisco. They have no offensive line now. They have an old-ass defense, aside from Chase Young. And they have no offensive. Who do they have on offense?
Oh, I couldn't
80-year-old
even tell
Adrian
you.
Peterson?
AD. I'm pretty sure he still ripped us for 70 yards when he played us on one play. But that's besides the point. But yeah, we'll see. I'm thinking we're going to end up splitting against the Redskins. And I don't know if we're going to be beating the Eagles at
I
all
do
this
not
year.
think you're going to beat the Eagles on Thursday Night Football.
I'll be watching.
Flip that
There's that.
around, and I think this game, the Week 8 game against Tampa Bay, is a toss-up.
Well, listen, this is one of those games where I said this is a fun schedule. This is one of the big reasons why. We get to play Tom Brady at home if I'm not mistaken, at home
It's at home.
in prime time. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then I looked at it too, and I said, oh well, Tom Brady, he's still Tom Brady, but it's a new system, and
Right.
so it's not the Patriots. Maybe we can win this game. But then I looked at it again, and I was like, oh well, it's Tom Brady with Gronk who's returning,
Mike
and
Evans.
then it's Mike Evans, and then it's Chris Godwin, and then Peyton Barber, who's their
I think it's Peyton Barber.
Peyton Barber.
Although they might sign Lawrence Maroney out of retirement and just make it a Patriots reunion.
And then
Or Ben
on
Jarvis
the defensive
Green-Ellis.
end, on the defensive end, I think they still have Shaq Barrett.
They have the sack leader in Shaq Barrett. They got Gerald McCoy.
I don't like this game for the Giants at all. And even if the Giants put up a hell of a fight, which I'm sure they will because it'll be at home during prime time, if it's close, the ball will be in the hands of Tom Brady. I don't care what uniform he's wearing. You don't want that.
The other thing that you have to think about is this is a revenge game for Tampa because Tampa should have won Daniel Jones' first start, or that Daniel Jones game where everybody was like, "Oh my God, this guy's incredible," where Saquon was hopping out in a boot, and you came back and you won the game. This is a revenge game for that. Plus, oh by the way, you know what's good to have when you're trying to go for a revenge game? Tom Brady.
Yeah,
So,
and who knows where they'll be come week 8? You know what I mean? Like they could just be.
Either way.
Ooh.
Barring major injury to their offense, they're probably going to be 2 or 3 in all offensive categories this year.
Right. It's just I don't see it. I think Gronk is going to have a couple spikes that night, and if it isn't Gronk, it's going to be Godwin or Evans.
Right.
So God help us all. Oh my God, how did we let this happen? How did we let Tampa Bay get this good?
Next game, week 9 at Washington. It's a game, again, you should win.
But we might be coming off 3 straight losses at this point.
Yeah, potentially.
Or possibly.
If it's
5 even.
You might be, if you lose to Washington in week 6, that would be 4 straight losses. That is a must win to turn your season around at Washington. And again, week 6 is their Super Bowl for the Giants if they want to have a successful season and a chance at a Super Bowl. You said toss up between the series. I have it as a win just because I think you're a better team than Washington is, regardless of where it's being played. I'll side with you for the loss, but I have it as a win.
So we'll agree that we're going to win one and lose one against Washington. We'll put it there.
Yeah.
Because week 10, another divisional game. We're at home, but we're playing Philly again, and that's a loss. Unless something gets over this, we just can't perform. The Giants just can't get it up when they're playing the Eagles. So, unless, Joe Judge is going to have to do something to stroke the Giants' ego and get us a win against the Eagles, because right now I don't think we can do it.
I think you
There's
can
a
win.
Whole sexual innuendo there, but it's fine.
I mean, I caught it. The thing I think you have going for you is it's the week before the bye. If you win that game, you have a whole week to talking to yourself and look at the back half of the schedule and say, well, we got Cincy, we got Arizona, and we got Cleveland coming up. We could win those games. And if we win those games and we win this game, we have a fighting chance at a playoff spot.
Okay, well, I don't know if we agree on that, because I see a couple of other. I see 1, possibly 2 scheduled losses after our bye week.
There's definitely one, but this is another game. It's slightly below the week 6 game in Washington, but if you win this game, you can generate enough buzz through the bye week to flood the papers and flood the radio in this town and say we have the confidence to go for a playoff spot. So, and
Well, I mean,
if you lose the game, it's the sky is falling, the season's over. Let's tank for whoever the hell is going to be the
whoever
number
the
one pick.
another offensive lineman probably.
Right. But
terrible. So
I
bad
think
about
you
it.
can. I think you can win the game. I'm chalking it up as a win. So
Okay, go ahead.
through the first 10 weeks, win at Pittsburgh, win at home against Pittsburgh, win at Chicago, loss against San Fran at home, win against the Rams on the road, scheduled loss against Dallas, win against Washington, loss against Philly, a loss against Tampa, loss against Washington in Washington. That's 4. You're 6-4? Or no, you're not.
Reverse that. Yeah, no.
You're you're 4-5 going into that game.
Going
Maybe
into
that's your
week
season.
10 in Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be your season, because if you win that game, you're 5-5 going into the bye, and then you got Cincinnati with Joe Burrow coming out of the bye week.
Sure. And again, in week 12, I think that's a win. I think we're beating the Bengals that week. I think that Joe Burrow is going to be fun to watch this year.
That's an exciting game. That is potentially the next crop of quarterbacks.
It's another game that speaks to, like, this Giants schedule is really exciting. We have a lot of things to look forward to this year. And there's still one more thing to look forward to a couple of weeks after that. So I think we're going to beat Cincinnati. I think we're going to baptize Joe Burrow. Like I said, the Giants blitz at about 30%, which is a little bit more than the league average.
Right.
Obviously, there's a lot of trust in our secondary, even though they're young. So I really think that we're going to be going after the quarterback a lot, and Joe Burrow is going to have to react to that. He has weapons, he'll have AJ, but other than that, I think we're going to suffocate the Bengals, and I think we're going to come out with a win in week 12.
I think Burrow will put up a decent amount of points, but I think the Giants are a better team overall, and I agree with you with the win there. Week 13 at the Seahawks, another scheduled loss.
Yeah, that's absolutely brutal. West Coast trips are brutal in general, but having to go and play Seattle in Seattle, at best, it'll be a good learning experience for our young guys.
I don't think you have the firepower on defense to contain Russell Wilson.
No, I don't. And also, I heard that Beast Mode might be coming back, so the whole league should be on notice.
Is that a thing, or is he counting his chicken and making sure his mentals are correct?
He should be doing both, man. We got to, save that bread. But he said his agent is talking about a possible return. He honestly, I love Marshawn Lynch. I'm like a huge Marshawn Lynch stan. He's like one of my favorite people.
Is he going to be one of those players that'll play until he's 45, but only play half? But he's only going to play like half the season.
He's at this point, at his age, he's like a refrigerator. He's old, and he can't run, down the field and do like a stiff arm dude like he did against the Saints. But you're still not stopping him at the goal line. I don't care how old he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's worth the 1-year deal every year, because if you get to the 1 or 2, nobody's stopping him.
Well, unless you're Pete Carroll in the Super Bowl.
Only the person with the playbook is stopping him.
The one in charge is the one that's going to hinder Marshawn's success.
Malcolm Butler gets no credit for that.
Moving to Week 14, home against Arizona.
Interesting game. A game that I think is going to be a lot of fun.
Kyler's going to be interesting. I think he's going to torch the Jets. But I don't know how he'll fare coming east in a Week 14 matchup when who the hell knows what's going on. They have a really scary offense. Thanks to
DeAndre Hopkins and
the idiot that currently runs the Houston Texans, Bill O'Brien.
Oh, there's one that I had to eat crow on. There's one that there's a good one because I also defended Bill O'Brien
for some ridiculous reason.
Well, because they were winning. They were winning. They won a playoff. They won a playoff game.
You know what Bill O'Brien's tagline is during his NFL career? Good enough to get to the playoffs, then we stink.
Well, how was I supposed to know that he would blow it up for no reason?
Because that's his MO. He thinks he's Belichick, and he's not.
It makes no sense, and I hope Deshaun Watson kind of gets out of there.
He needs to.
He'll establish his legacy somewhere else. Maybe New Orleans. I don't know.
That's an interesting take.
I don't know. Well, because Jameis isn't going to be the guy.
Well, who knows? He got his latex surgery, so maybe he can see past 5 yards.
Well, no, because Jameis said, I'm not changing my game. He's like me when I'm playing Madden and I throw 5 picks in a game. I'm like, the plays worked before. I'm not changing. I'm still throwing it to square every time.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. He very well doesn't have to change the way he plays the game, but guess what? He can actually see now. He couldn't see last year.
If Bruce Arians can't make you,
he couldn't see.
Then what do you mean he couldn't see? Like he threw like 30 and 30. Like I don't know how blind could he have been?
He went out and said that he got latex surgery because he couldn't see
LASIK.
past.
It's not latex. LASIK.
Sorry, he got LASIK.
No,
But he admitted he couldn't see past 5 yards. That's why he threw so many interceptions.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
No one just gets the surgery to get it. That is laser eye surgery.
I know, but that doesn't make sense to me that, how long could he not see past 5 yards?
Apparently, the entire season.
That's like, you recover from that I have to know the recovery time of that surgery. I have to figure that out.
Probably, I would say probably a month at the most.
I'm Googling that right now.
Maybe, I'm going to say the recovery time from that surgery is 2 weeks.
LASIK eye, recovery. Let me see, the quickest Google I've ever done. My goodness gracious, I don't feel like reading all this.
I assume it's 2 weeks.
You'll see improvement within the first 2 days.
2 days?
Within the first days, you'll see improvement. The point is, he could have gotten on a bye week. and
well, you're also talking about the same person that stole crab legs from a university of or the Florida State University grocery store.
Here we go. Your eyes start healing immediately after your LASIK surgery, and the initial healing usually occurs rapidly. But it's normal to experience some blurred vision and fluctuations in your vision for several weeks or even months. I will take fluctuations in vision over not being able to see. That's just me.
I mean, it's not like he needs his vision to do his job.
I can't believe he went to the Saints too. Like, that bums me out. Like, I was really disappointed he went to the Saints.
Hey, I mean, maybe he's the most entertaining quarterback in the league.
I feel like Drew Brees deserves better.
He's going to be working for NBC.
Drew Brees?
Yeah, he already got a deal signed.
Where's that? And also, like, give my boy Taysom Hill a star. I want to see what happens. I love Taysom Hill.
I know you do. I've always been out on him.
So Arizona, we didn't decide if this is gonna be a win or loss.
I think it's gonna be a win. I think you do enough in that game where you hold off Kyler to you hold them off just enough. I think that's another barn burner. And I don't know why I keep picking the Giants in close games, but I like your offense this year.
I think it's going to be a shootout, and whether or not we come out on top, I just don't know. Kyler Murray's fun. Sometimes he's 5'10". I don't know. But he will always cover the spread. So
Yes, that is one thing that many people have learned. He was an aggravating person to have in fantasy last year.
So I don't know. Let me think. Close games. I'm trying to decide if I want this to be a. When I initially looked at this, I said loss.
Really?
But a close loss, like a shootout loss, like just whoever had the ball last.
I think it's a 34-31 overtime win.
I'll give it to you. I'll say win. But the reason I said loss is because week 15, I'm saying win. I don't care what the circumstances are. We're winning that game.
Do you say win at all costs just because it's the OBJ revenge game?
Absolutely. Because as much as I love OBJ, he's like talking smack really for no reason. And it almost feels like we got the better end of that trade last year.
Here's what I think is going to happen in that game. I chalked it up as a loss solely because it's the OBJ revenge game. And I think he will do everything in his power to just torch you guys and make you look like fools for giving away one of the best receivers in football.
Sure, but he took it out on the Jets already.
It's the Jets.
That's what was so funny to me because like he took it out on the Jets, like he took it out on the other team.
He didn't
he made
play
you pay
for
it.
us. He didn't play for us. He
I
played
know,
for
but
you
like,
guys.
He came back to MetLife to play you guys, and he just took it all out on you.
But guess what? You know what's going to be even? It's good. The fanfare that game's going to draw, and the amount of OBJ fans in general, and the amount of blue 13 jerseys you're going to see in the stands rooting for OBJ, is
sure.
It's going to be 80%. 80% of MetLife is going to be rooting for OBJ.
Can I be honest with you? It's not even that I want, OBJ talks a lot, and
you just want Baker to fail.
That's kind of what it is. You took the words out of my mouth. It's not even so much OBJ because I do like OBJ despite his nonsense, and he was good for us. Baker, I also like Baker. He's like a sober Johnny Manziel, but I like Johnny Manziel more. I don't like his attitude. I didn't, but when he was drafted in his rookie year, like I liked it. And last year, I hated his attitude so much. It was like,
you hated his guts last year.
How dare people say that we suck because we suck? Like, yeah, like you suck. It's not, you can't, you know what I mean?
No, I do. And I mean, I think it sucks that you don't like a person that you look like.
Get fucked. What do you mean? What do you person that I look like?
You look like Baker.
My mustache was better than Baker Mayfield. I just want to put it out there. Pictures to prove it. My mustache was so much better than Baker Mayfield's. And I don't, if he starts, even if he doesn't start winning, he just needs to stop complaining about people talking about how bad his team is. Then I'll like him again. Like, if you wanted to stop, win games. And then when you don't win games, just be a professional and own it. Don't come at the media like, oh, you guys are like, how dare we say you suck, but you suck.
Well, that's just a 21st century athlete for you.
So, it can change, though.
Moving on to, I'm not going to call this a scheduled loss. This is just going to be a beatdown.
Oh, dude. How many over-under on yards for Jackson? Over-under 88 rushing yards.
I would say I would put the combined over-under at like 450.
What?
Because he's going to throw for over 300. And he's going to possibly get close to 100 yards rushing.
It's going to be terrifying. And the worst part is I'm going to have so much fun watching it because Lamar Jackson's so much fun to watch.
Right. He is probably him and Mahomes are the two quarterbacks you got to stop whatever the hell you're doing. If they're on TV, you sit down and watch.
Right.
They're the two appointment television players in the league. It's nobody else is even in the conversation.
Not anymore. I mean, unless everyone has their own personal preferences. Like I'm sure you have your guys besides those two.
Right, but I'm just saying.
But right in general,
the platinum superstars, the guys who are going to make football look like everyone else on the field is toddlers. It's Mahomes and Jackson.
Right.
That is it. Derrick Henry had a small run in the playoffs, but I mean, running backs are human, and they become old used cars faster than a 99 Camry.
Yeah, or any car. Yeah, or any car ever. Yeah. I agree with you, and I mean, I don't even know what to think of Derrick Henry as a side issue, but yes. This is a loss. This will be an L for the Giants.
Over under 40 points for the Ravens.
I'm going to say under, but they're going to get like 37.
I don't know. 41 seems like an appetizing number.
And then finally, in week 17.
Moving on to the additional game of the year, you got Dallas to close out the year. And right now, this could be for 8-8.
Well, then I still don't think we're beating Dallas.
8-8 some years is good enough to get into the playoffs. And it might be this year too.
Because there's a new playoff look, right?
The only thing that's different is the second team in the conference doesn't get the bye. Because there's an additional playoff team, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I have to look more into the new system because I forgot about it already.
The NFC last year was not great. It was definitely the weaker conference.
Yeah, but now, there's a boost now because like Tom Brady's here now. Tampa Bay just got.
That's one more team.
Well, yeah. I mean, so now we have the Niners, the Saints, the Seahawks, the Cowboys, the Bucks.
We don't even know if the Bucks are going to be any good. I mean,
the offense are going to be good.
The offense will be good, but we don't know if the thing. And this is tried and true. Brady doesn't know if he can trust those guys. It matters week 15, 16, 17.
It matters, but he knows that he can try. And again, I mean, we don't know where Gronk is going to be because he's been like trying to be a wrestler or something for the last year or two.
This is an interesting point, and shout out to Katie Nolan of ESPN who said this. Gronk has the 24/7 title.
Oh my God, I know. Everyone tells me. Do you have any? Because a lot of my friends know that I'm a diehard wrestling fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gotten multiple messages like, so is Gronk going to defend? I don't know.
Here's Katie Nolan brought up a great point on Slow News Day for the Ringer. She said if the first person who tackles Gronk and keeps him on the ground for 3 seconds, is he the new 24/7 champion?
Dude, I'd love that. That'd be so good. I don't know. If I could get into the head of Vince McMahon for a day, which I'm sure is a very scary place.
There's cobwebs and ghouls in there.
He's done some terrible things to people on air. I wonder what he hasn't done. Like, I wonder what's been scrapped. So, yeah, but that's like, I mean, this has nothing to do with the Giants schedule, but that would be such a good opportunity for like cross-brand promotion, like make the 24/7 title an NFL thing. Have it go from bench to bench in the NFL. Like,
why not?
It's
like the turnover chain in Miami.
Yeah, exactly. But I think he's going to realize quickly, like Tom Brady is, that I think Mike Evans is very trustworthy,
He
and
hasn't
so
played
is
a
Chris
playoff game.
Godwin. Okay. What define trustworthy? Like, will he make the catches?
If I need you in a very important situation at the end of the season in the playoffs, are you going to make the catch?
Oh, well, no one knows the answer to that question. But we know Gronk can.
The only person and they might need to wheel him out on a stretcher to play a playoff game by that point.
Maybe, but
Because
Gronk and
Gronk's
Brady,
been
those two are enough
partying
to get.
for a year.
I know, and also I'm kind of surprised that he is going to Tampa Bay because I didn't realize that. Like, how long is it going to take him to get to football shape, like football weight?
You better be lifting now.
Yeah. So.
You can't be slamming claws anymore.
It's crazy with Gronk because he hosted WrestleMania, and I watched it because of course I did, and I swear to God, Joe, watching him, it's almost like you could see in his face the moment he realized that no one liked him. It's like you could see it in his face, like, oh, this is just fun for me. No one actually wants me here. And then sure enough, like a week later, he was back in the NFL.
Yeah. I mean, ego is a crazy thing.
Yeah. And he was on The Masked Singer this past week, and I almost threw up. Because he's such a bad singer, and it's unnecessary. And lift weights. Like, what are you doing? You're playing this year.
What
are we talking about?
We're talking about the Dallas game to go 8-8.
So where are we at? Where are we at now? What's the number? So I'm assuming they're losing that game. So what's the number? 8-9?
Yeah. I said this is for 8-8. This is for wow, that's weird. That is weird.
What's that?
Because I was figuring out the math for a season now. You had an extra game and it just sounds weird. 7-10 or 8-9, it's weird. So weird. Doesn't feel right. Just like the Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego.
I don't even know, man.
Or the gag Las Vegas Raiders.
Technically, the number we came up with is better than the one I came up with on my own. But I still feel like I went through the ringer in the last hour or something to talking.
Yes, I mean, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 losses out of 17 games.
A lot of those are mostly divisional. Half of those are divisional losses.
Which that might not get you into the playoffs.
Right.
So you would need, if you're going to lose against Dallas, you're definitely not in the playoffs. But if you win against Dallas, possibly you're in the playoffs.
If we win against Dallas, I'll feel like we won the Super Bowl. And if we beat Dallas twice, oh my God, I'll never stop talking. If we beat Dallas twice, I'll be the happiest camper because I hate that team. You know what's weird? Now that Brady's gone, I don't hate the Patriots that much anymore.
No, I still hate them.
I mean, they're cheaters, but Brady's gone now, so it's I guess because they're not as scary anymore. Not a two-headed monster.
The man that still, we'll end on this. The Belichick is still a mastermind, and he still scares the living daylights out of me. Yeah, Brady's not there to pummel us extra, but I mean, Belichick's enough to foil whatever plan the bumbling idiots that I call my team, the New York Jets, has to try to beat them. There's no way we beat the Patriots this year. Absolutely no way.
I think you're going to get a game.
The game that we would get would be the Monday night game at home.
Dude, as long as your quarterback doesn't get mono, or some other STD or STI, or the clap or whatever. I really think you'll be okay. And big shout out to you guys for saying you're going to use Le'Veon Bell and then immediately signing Frank Gore to vulture his touchdowns this year.
I don't think Frank Gore is going to make the roster this year.
Well, I think so, because who's going to back up Lev Bell? Not Bilal Powell.
We have Powell. We have P.
You don't
Ryan.
have Powell.
Well, we'll re-sign Powell.
Powell had neck surgery. Last I heard about Powell, his career's over. So was Quincy Enunwa.
Yeah, I'm sad about that.
Quincy Enunwa could have been great if he figured out how to run more than 6 yards on a route.
Well, they just used him wrong.
So
the Gase ruined it. He's in a. Can we get Adam Gase out of the NFL, please?
Yeah, it was a really bad first season. But I'll say this much though: I would take Frank Gore over Samaje Perine.
It's not Samaje Perine. It's another Perine.
There's another Perine?
This guy's a rookie. I don't know if he's related to Samaje Perine of the Washington Redskins.
One of my favorite names of all time. I know that's like in bad taste. I shouldn't make fun of someone's name, but like I love that name. Samaje Perine.
It sounds like it's a Key and Peele sketch name.
Yeah, no. Oh, like one of those like East-West Bowls?
Yeah, it's the East-West Bowl. It's an East-West Bowl game.
X-Wing at Aliciousness.
All right, brother. So the consensus is the Giants will lose
9 times.
9 times? Again, I feel like I'm losing my head here because I just counted the amount of losses you guys have. 8 losses.
8 losses. 8 L's.
8 out of 16. 8 out of 17 games.
So, that's generous. We'll say that narrowly missing the playoffs, quickly getting snuffed out of our division. So, we'll see.
You have a fighting chance in your division. You have a fighting chance for second place in your division.
I'll take that because I really do think it's a mental thing with the Eagles, and we can get over it. We can beat them because we really can beat the Eagles and Redskins twice. It's not impossible.
You should beat the Redskins twice. You could potentially beat the Eagles twice.
Yeah, so forget about the Cowboys. We'll have to wait and see, man. I hope for the best. I guess my favorite part of this whole thing, and I'll end it here, I guess, because the last thing I could say about it is the best part of this whole thing is that for a few weeks or the build up to it and the first 24 hours after it's released, things feel a bit normal.
Yeah, it feels like, and maybe it's just because football is so far away from actually kicking off that it feels like we're going to have some normalcy. Like this is a look to the future of saying, oh, down the road, things are going to get better. And that could simply just be because the games are slated for September and we don't know what the hell the world's going to look like in September.
Well, listen, even if I'm fine with empty arena football. That's just me.
Like nobody wants other than September, 90% of the country doesn't want to go to a football game in November and December.
Right. So that works for me.
And the Sunday ticket's awesome.
Yeah. And I love being able to hear. I would love to hear the players talking shit to each other the whole time.
Yeah, instead of just an occasional on the field mic catching the obligatory motherfucker.
Yeah. So until then, dude, thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming on. The invitation's always open.
There's a pay-per-view on Sunday. There's a Money in the Bank pay-per-view on Sunday. So I'm sure.
They're going to the top of the...
Dude, they're going to wrestle in a building, and according to reports, the men's and women's match is going to be happening simultaneously.
I am even more excited.
I am erect. I cannot wait. to watch this. Like, I'm gonna do all my Mother's Day stuff early in the day and get it done with, and then I'm gonna be watching Money in the Bank, and I have to see how that goes. Someone's going off that building.
Is there a flaming table catching whoever that
Dude,
person's fall?
who knows? Really, who knows? It's like 70. It's like I don't even know how many floors of that building there are, but someone's going off that building. I'll put money on it.
It's going to be interesting. I'm going to be very happy, and we might have to have a Money in the Bank recap Monday morning.
Not Sebastian Maniscalco on.
Yeah, we'll get Johnny on.
So, all right, brother.
We're at the end of the show, so you can tell the people what you got going on and where they can find you.
Sure. You can follow me on Instagram at your boy Santi. You can follow me on Twitter at AirSanti. And that's really all I got going on, man. I'm in quarantine, so not much is moving. But if you want to laugh at some shitty memes or something with me, come on down and hit the follow button.
I will definitely have you on for a potential Money in the Bank recap, and then I'll have you on for the Jordan Last Dance big extravaganza recap.
Oh boy, okay.
Because you can come in hot for that one.
Oh, dude, it's gonna come in so hot. It's gonna be so much fun. I just got so excited. All right, man. I can't wait. We'll do it.
All right. I'll talk to you soon, brother. Be easy.
Be easy, man.